Hey everyone, welcome back for another segment of Coffee with Mare. And I'm sitting in my living room today. It's really beautiful and snowy. Hang on, I'm going to show you guys this. Oh, I can't flip my camera around. I can't flip my camera around while I'm recording. Sorry about that. But anyhow, I just wanted to share with you some of my thoughts about this whole COVID-19 thing that's happening at the moment. I'm not going to get into the conversation around whether quarantining is right or wrong, or whether or not people ought to be afraid. I'm just going to share with you what my take on this is as someone who is immunocompromised and lives with chronic illness every day. And some insight that I can give to you is, if any of you have already started practicing some social distancing, this might be as close as you will ever get to knowing what it's like to live with chronic illness. For people who are staying at home more, or that maybe aren't able to go into work. I know that there's layoffs that are starting to happen right now, unfortunately, which is not a good thing for anyone, but it's necessary, I suppose, in some industries, in particular in travel and tourism. The airlines and other travel companies are having a lot of difficulty, as you can imagine. But if we can circle back to the whole chronic illness piece, this is something that really hits home for me a lot, because I already have a mindset in the winter of being really careful about where it is that I go, where I'm spending my time, what kind of activities I have in the winter, because when a healthy person gets a cold, it usually lasts, up to like from a couple of days to a few weeks. When I get a cold, it usually lasts 3 months. And I don't want to ruin my entire winter. And the fall, as I've discussed previously, tends to be a really difficult transition time for me and for some of my friends who are also spoonies out there that are living and rocking their chronic illness journey. And especially in Calgary, or if you live somewhere where there are a lot of temperature fluctuations, excuse me, that happen in a really short period of time, that also contributes to how prone you might be to getting ill, or sicker than you already are, I should say. So let's say we just went through another big temperature shift. I mean, last week we were running around outside with, a little bit of snow on the ground and beautiful bluebird sky, and it was practically like sweater weather. You could go out without your winter jacket on because it was so nice. We were hitting temperatures that are above zero, and without the wind, it would have just been an absolutely fabulous day to be outside on a lot of those occasions. Now it is snowy, blustery day. The ground is completely white again. It's snowing. And I mean, I think it looks gorgeous. I'm a fan of winter. I'm a skier, and some of you will already know that. So I love the snow. But that transition from going from above zero in Celsius to -12, -13, and the different pressure systems that came in to bring the snow kind of sent me back to bed for a few days. And I had to take my self-care with both hands and be brave and say, it's okay. This is normal. This is going to happen because it's Calgary in the spring. And if you don't know what a Chinook is, Chinooks are, you can see them coming. And I look to the west from where I live, and if there's a Chinook coming through, you see this great big arch. It's a Chinook arch in the sky, and it's like blue sky with this ridge of clouds that's like in this rounded out arch coming, and you can see it, and it starts to get really, really windy. It gets warm, and the snow just melts. So I mean, we can have a 20-30 degree shift over a span of 2 days. We can go from very, very cold temperatures to something very, very warm. Now, we don't have any Chinooks being forecast right now, but I can tell you that on the heels of having this weather system come in with the snow, if we get a Chinook after that, I'm probably going to be spending another few days in bed. So that equals more or less housebound to a certain extent, where I don't plan anything. If I do have plans, I make sure that I rest before and after, but I try to not go out of my way to have to be out for extended periods of time, because I know my energy is going to be low. So for you that are maybe having this as a new experience of, I'm so sorry. So if this is kind of new to you, to having social distancing as part of your world now, you'll kind of get a glimpse into what it is to be sick year round, and that you have to take things into consideration like, oh, okay, I need to go to Costco, or I need to go grocery shopping, or I need to go for a doctor's appointment, and I really don't know if I should go out. And it's not really a question of safety at this point. It's more a question of, I know that my immune system is suppressed. I take Enbrel, which is a biologic medication, and it's an injection that I do myself at home once a week for my psoriatic arthritis. That means my immune system is trashed. There's nothing left. So yeah, I pick up every sniffle, every cold that goes by. If it's the flu, that knocks me out really well, usually for, like I said, a cold or flu for me can last up to 3 months. Like, I've been sick straight from December to the middle of March before, and people that I was working with at the time are like, how can you still be sick? And I mean, even before I was on immunosuppressants, my immune system was already trashed because I was immune compromised. When you have something like RA or rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, if you have lupus, and there's more illnesses that I could list in that category than we have time for, but it's just important to note that those people have weakened immune systems, and throw on top of that the medications that we take to help suppress our immune systems, because our immune systems are essentially already attacking our bodies. So we have to suppress that response so that we start to feel better. If you're in that predicament, or if this is something that's new to you, if you're new at taking something like methotrexate, or you've just been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, just be really patient with yourself. Allow yourself the time to really let it sink in, and know that if you are distancing yourself, you're doing it to protect yourself. That's not to say that I'm not going to spend time with the people that I love and that I care about. I'm just probably not going to do it out in public. I mean, I would much rather have somebody over to my home and have coffee in my home at this point than having to go out and do that in public. The meal delivery services that we have in Calgary here are really, really good, and most of them have sent messages about how they're doing everything they can to ensure the safety, and and just so people can rest assured that if they do still need to use the service, like we've got Skip the Dishes and Foodora and Uber Eats and DoorDash. There's so many of them here. But they're taking this very seriously, and also that they are really stressing that their drivers are doing whatever they can to, ensure that they're being safe and protecting themselves as well. So it's a really big topic to digest, but if you're taking it from the perspective of what are you doing to protect your own body, that's kind of how the chronically ill live all of the time, and you're getting a little insight. So I hope that that's something that won't be lost on people once COVID has passed its initial wave, and that there's more understanding about the illness. And the one thing that I did learn from watching, it was a Joe Rogan podcast that was on YouTube, and he brought on a specialist who talked about, you know, the different epidemics that we've had, and that they talked about children and how they're finding that children, or persons under the age of 19 years old is how it was described, are not getting sick from this. They are carriers though. So they can become infected but not become symptomatic, which I have an 11-year-old. That was good news, because I already see my daughter, like when she goes to school, she's my walking petri dish. You know, at that age, like at 11, yeah, the concept of personal hygiene is starting to take hold, but it's still early days for kids that are sort of in that prepubescent, preteen realm, you know, and we've talked a lot about hand washing, and we've always done so just because she knows that she's got a sick mom, and that part of us working together is doing whatever we can to prevent illness from coming into our home. And you know, and we have talked about it, and she's looked at me and she's like, right, Mama, yeah, I know I need to wash my hands better. I'm working on it. And I'm like, you know, I'm just so proud of you for just even saying I'm working on it. Like, she knows that she needs to improve that. And we're a very huggy, kissy, affectionate family, and it's really difficult not to be. So for me to be mauled by my child at least once a day is sort of normal. And I don't want her to be afraid of doing that. But she's also been really healthy over this cold and flu season. So I can only hope that she will continue to be healthy. But do I have to think about the fact that she could come into contact with somebody and become a carrier? Absolutely, but so can any child. So you think about families that have multiple children in their household, there is a likelihood that one of them may run across someone who has been infected. You know, and I'm just grateful to hear that my daughter's not the one who's going to be sick, because if you're a mom or a dad, you probably can relate to the fact that you would take on anything to prevent your child from hurting or being ill in any way. And I would much rather have that added on to the pile that I already deal with than have her be ill and be afraid. So that actually gave me some sick, twisted kind of relief when I heard that even if she becomes a carrier, that she probably wouldn't even know it, and that she wouldn't show any symptoms. So that's kind of, you know, thank God for small miracles, that at least the kids are not going to be the ones coming down with this. And my family has always been very sensitive to the fact that I am immunocompromised, and, you know, when the kids are sick and I go over to my sister's place for a visit, my sister usually gives them the little preemptive chat. Okay, now you make sure, like, no kisses on the mouth and you know, hugs and stuff, but you make sure that you be careful with Auntie. And for being little kids, like the younger ones, they're so good about that. And I just feel like I have a very special family that surrounds me, and that my friends are also very aware, and that a number of them are actually immune compromised as well. So we're in good company with each other, and none of us takes it personally if we end up canceling. Now, I do have to say, and I want to give a shout out to my girls, Robin and Sarah. Mwah. I love you both. We had planned a trip at the end of this month. We were going to go out to the mountains, and my girlfriend Robin was going to come out from Ontario. There is still a slight possibility that she may come, but I did have to speak my truth this morning and say, hey, you know, I'm on this immunosuppressant medication, and I do really have to think about this. And you know, and so maybe we do need to cancel our trip, but I also want to wait to hear back from Robin. She's coming from the furthest. There's plane tickets that are already booked, and the choice is hers, because if she's coming all this way, you can bet your butts that I'm going to see her. Absolutely. But she also has a family to consider, and so does my friend Sarah. You know, we're all moms, and we have families that we need to think about. So at this point, it's not like there's going to be hard feelings if it doesn't happen. The timing may not have worked out for us this year, and who knows, it could still happen, right? But we are all being very sensitive, and we have been talking about this already for over a week, what this looks like for us, and is it the smartest thing for us to go ahead, or should we just think about doing this at another time? Having those conversations with the people in your life is really important. And if you've got someone who really is not on board with helping you to protect your health, it ultimately rests in, the ball's in your court. You kind of have to make those decisions for yourself, especially if it's like, if you're planning on going on a cruise. Yeah, I understand. A lot of people really don't want to go cruising right now, but there are still a lot of travel agents that are saying, yes, you know what? Cruising is a good way to go. So you've got people on both sides of the equation, people. There's the ones that are still trying to keep the industry alive with as much safety precautions as possible. And then there's the other camp that's kind of gone into a sheer panic over this. And I don't feel that I'm at either extreme of that. And it's sort of important to check in with yourself and see where you are with this, because there is a lot of really kind of scary, bad news that's been spun up in the media, and that people are being afraid. And I think it's early days. And from everything that I've read from different health organizations around the world, that, a good dose of caution is in order at this moment. But the widespread panic and fear, I don't think we're there yet. And that's just my take on it, and I respect the opinions that are out there. And if you feel like it's touched your home, or it has come too close to your home, like it's in your city, like it is in mine, it's in the city where my mom is, where a lot of my friends are, and that's globally, that, it's something that isn't far from your thoughts these days. So just take the time to maybe listen to your intuition and see how you feel about that. And instead of just consuming the mainstream media news that's being put out on TV and on the radio, excuse me, it might be worth just searching out some of those articles that have been published by the CDC, the World Health Organization, the organization in Canada, which for some reason I can't remember the acronym, but it's PHAC, PHAC, which essentially spells fact in my mind. I'm not trying to curse here. I'm just saying that I looked at that and I'm just like, oh, wow, did they actually think about what that reads like when they put that acronym together? Because it's kind of funny to me. So anyway, these are some of my thoughts. Try and round out the knowledge that you have and go to the sources of information for people that are really trying to control the spread of the illness in your country or even in your hometown, and see what they're recommending. We have a huge event here every summer, and they call it the greatest show on earth. It's the Calgary Stampede. And I am a face painter at the Calgary Stampede with a group of 8 other wonderful women, and we're on hold right now. We are waiting to find out whether or not the whole Stampede's going to be canceled. And that draws millions of people every year to Calgary, and it supports so many different industries, not just travel and tourism, but it supports our hospitality industry and the culture that happens around the Calgary Stampede, which is the whole city pretty much shuts down and parties for 10 days. And that's businesses. Some of the largest business building events that happen in this city happen during the Calgary Stampede. So, you know, this is something that's very, very close to home for me. As far as face painting goes, we've already had jobs canceled that are in public centers, and a lot of the public events that we get hired to go paint at have been canceled, and justifiably so. I mean, especially community events that draw a few hundred people. Like, they're saying now that in Alberta, in my province here, any gatherings over 250 people have been banned. And that's also led to a lot of conversation around whether or not the schools are going to be closed. There have been school closures in other parts of the country. So far, the school board that my daughter's school is a part of has chosen not to, and that's also still in line with the public health recommendations. But spring break is coming up next week for her school, and it's quite possible that there will be closures after spring break, because that's another couple weeks down the road. There may be more information available, and so there's already contingency planning that's been happening around that. And thankfully, my daughter's dad and we are friends, we communicate often. We've already talked about, well, what happens if she is off school? His job is very, very busy right now because of COVID-19, and so he's just going to be flat out regardless. And I've already said, well, yeah, absolutely, you know, like, we will make this work, because we know he's going to be working extra hours, and that if she's not at school, he can't work from home every day. It just won't work, because the volume in his workload right now is too great. So, like I said, I'm thankful that my ex and I have a really good relationship, and that we discuss this kind of thing very openly, because we want to do what's best for our child, and that she's also very easygoing, because we cooperate when it comes to her, and just want to make sure that she's getting exactly what she needs on the weeks that she's with either one of us. So I don't know. Overall, I think I still think that I'm pretty lucky. It's really funny, considering the number of illnesses that I have and the things that I have in my life that I deal with on a daily basis, that I still feel very lucky, and I feel very fortunate and blessed, because my family's healthy, my daughter is healthy, her dad is healthy, and my friends so far are healthy, and that things could be much, much worse. So, and you know, I'm wearing one of my favorite sunshines today. It says create your own sunshine, or wearing one of my favorite t-shirts, not my favorite sunshine, but sorry, I need to have some coffee. Oh, so good. But yeah, it says create your own sunshine, and this shirt was given to me by a very dear friend of mine. And it is just so true, because I do try and bring a little bit of my own sunshine to every day and to everyone that I have in my life, and that extends out to you. So while there's a whole lot of doom and gloom going on around this recent, you know, COVID-19 stuff, that there's ways to work around it. And if you have people with chronic illness in your life, they can probably help you navigate these waters. So maybe ask them, well, what do you do when it's cold and flu season to try and protect yourself, you know? And how does it feel when you're sort of housebound? And now, even, I'm not gonna say I'm housebound, because I don't have to be home, but at this point I'm choosing it for my own well-being as much as possible. And you know, and it's things like, well, make sure that you've got lots of stuff to do, and maybe you binge watch that Netflix series that you've been dying to catch up on. And you know, and with kids, especially with small kids, when they don't understand why they can't go out and do the things that they want to do, that's always a challenge. But y'all out there are sick moms and sick dads, some of you, and you know, maybe chime in the comments down below and tell us what you do when, you know, if you've got kids at home, and what are you trying to do so that they still have lots of stuff to keep them busy and that they're not constantly upset about not being able to go out and see their friends. Or if you're in an area where there are school closures, what are you doing for your kids while they're at home? Or what are you planning to do in case that happens, right? So we have the benefit of the interwebs. If we didn't have the internet, I think life might be a whole lot duller, and this is the one time where it might actually be beneficial to have all of these resources. And I'm still committed to making videos for you, and I wish I could go live. But at this point, my channel is just itty bitty. We don't have enough subscribers so that we can go live. And I'm looking forward to the day where I can do that, because I would love to actually be able to have coffee with you and have people coming and commenting on here. So, you know what you can do to help us achieve that is, if you've got some people in your life you think you might want to share this video with, I would love it if you did. Because the faster we grow, the faster we can start doing more fun stuff, like having the community section alive and doing live videos. And I can't wait until we've grown to that point. But it all starts with you. And I am so grateful for all of your support and for everyone who's been checking in. And I love the comments that have been coming, and keep them coming, people. Keep the suggestions coming, because I did have to say to one viewer that, you know, just make sure that if you're seeing a recommendation coming from someone else and it might not be something that you buy into, that something that didn't work for you may be the miracle solution for another person, because we're individuals and all of our bodies are 100% unique. We've all got ways that our body works better and is more efficient than others, and it's like the carnivore diet, right? It's working for me, but it's not like I'm telling everybody I know that they should be doing carnivore. They should be doing whatever they feel works good for their body. And if they ever get to a point where they're so desperate or that they want to try carnivore, hey, I'm all ears and I'm here to help. But you know, like I said, I have lots of vegans and vegetarians in my world, and that they're thriving and they're doing well. So you do have to respect what works over there for someone else may not be the right thing for you, and vice versa. So let's just have some respect, and let's share that love and compassion out there in the world so that people feel like they're heard and that they're being acknowledged. So comment down below. Tell us what your strategies are in this time that we have in the world, because we're all sharing in it. This isn't something that is, you know, only hitting one country or one city. This is something that is affecting our entire world. And I want to hear what your thoughts are, you know. And if you're having a hard time with this, hey, tell us that too. We're here to help and support. And I'm just grateful and so thankful that you have been joining me. And keep on doing that. Be sure that you do like this video and subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button. Don't forget to go for that notification bell as well, so you know exactly when all of our videos are going to be landing on YouTube. So for today, thanks again for joining me, and we'll talk again really soon. This is SickMom, checking out.